We've reached the part of the night where instead of making a good decision and going to bed at a decent hour, I've decided to record a video. So, howdy, my fellow meatbags. It's Megan here, as if it would be anybody else. I'm not reading as much as I want to during my quarantine. And I know I've mentioned this before, so welcome to yet another video where I repeat myself. In a fit of sleeplessness, though, I think I figured out why. You see, a lot of the reading I've been doing in 2020 was either out of anger, see the end of The Last Great Kingdom, or because I was at work and it was incredibly slow. I have far less distractions at work than I do at home, but I haven't been at work in almost a month. I've been at home surrounded by all of these distractions. Animal Crossing's definitely a thing, and I've been watching a lot of videos on how to take better advantage of the Adobe Creative Suite. Not that you'll see that reflected in my videos just yet, but I haven't gotten enough writing done, and I definitely haven't been reading. I want to read 2 books before the end of the month, and the month's already halfway over, and I figured what better way to kick my ass into a higher reading gear than to take part in a reading challenge. I'm going to be doing the Stay Home Reading Rush. From my understanding, Reading Rush is generally a huge readathon that happens in the summer, July 20th to the 26th this year. You get a number of challenges to complete, and people participate in reading sprints on Twitter and Instagram. If you watch a lot of booktubers with any regularity, you've probably seen this before. It seems to function much in the same way that National Novel Writing Month does. It's down right now, but I think you're usually able to make an account on their website to track your reading. You get badges and neat stuff like that. I don't know for sure. I've only heard about this reading challenge in the last 24 hours, so I'm definitely not the person to come to for accurate information, but I'll link the website down below. The stay-home version of the Reading Rush appears to be a bit different. It's an impromptu, shorter version of the Reading Rush event that encourages people to stay home and read and to do so as a community. You know, because going outside right now is kind of scary. There are 4 days, April 16th through the 19th, and 4 reading challenges. There's also some daily Instagram photo challenges that I will not be taking part in. If you've been to my Instagram, you know that I update it maybe once every 6 months. It's really just there so I can follow my friends in their Star Wars cosplay shenanigans and to see a lot of cat pictures. Yes, I know one day I will need to be more active in the future to build my author platform. Right now, though, it's not my biggest concern. As a bonus, the Reading Rush YouTube channel decided to do a little tag for the event, and I needed a video idea for the week, so here we go. I will put a link in the description to the original video and to the books I'm going to be reading, and let's just get started. First question, how is your reading going while staying home? I've said it before, and I will say it again, it's not going great, guys. Since I've been out of work, I only managed 3 books, and they were all in a series, and 2 of them were rereads from last year. I did start another book, but I've opened it maybe twice. I even talked about in a previous video wanting to have that book done by last Saturday, the 11th. That clearly didn't happen, so yeah, it's been a struggle. Second question, where have you been reading at home? Where I do everything at home, which is in my bedroom. There aren't other places to be in my house. It's a very long story involving a couple hurricanes, a dead family member, and attempts to avoid a years-long legal battle. Oh, and moving across the country 3 times in 12 months. I'll spare you guys the tragic story. I read everything in my bedroom. Question 3. What is the best book you've read during isolation? This question makes me wish I would have read more. The only 3 books I've read so far are Smoke and Summons, Myths and Mortals, and Siege and Sacrifice by Charlie N. Holmberg. I'll put up a card on the screen somewhere or a link in the description down below to the video where I talked more in depth about those books. I have to say it's hard for me to pick a favorite out of those 3. I love each of them for their own merits, but if I had to pick one, maybe Myths and Mortals. I think I appreciated the character development and the relationship growth between the characters so much more than in the other books. But I really loved the twist to the first book, and I really loved the world building of the 3rd book. You know what? I liked all 3 of them. I can't pick a favorite. Moving on. 4th question. What's your favorite feel-good book? I'm just going to assume a feel-good book refers to a book that makes me feel good when I read it. You know, something that makes me happy or smile. The immediate answer that comes to mind makes me realize I might have a problem, because my gut instinct is to say it's The Paper Magician by the same author as the previous 3 books I mentioned. I don't usually fangirl this hard over an author, but when you have favorites, you got favorites. It's just such a quick and easy read. There were so many times in 2019 where I was feeling down, where I would just pull up that book and read it in a couple days. The world building is great, it's just enough of our world with a neat twist on it, and I love the characters. The main character is a fiery redhead who's not taking shit from anybody, and her teacher is an eccentric guy who wears fun-colored coats and has a skeleton butler to scare people away from his house. Another book I'm inclined to mention is Defy the Stars by Claudia Gray. If you stop at the first book, it's just a fun adventure between 2 crazy kids trying to find the truth in the universe. Well, one of them happens to be a robot and the other one happens to be a soldier from a planet that hates robots. There's tragedy, but there's also fun. The ending is a little sad, but it's a book that just makes me feel warm and fuzzy inside. The 2nd and 3rd books, Defy the Worlds and Defy the Fates, they're not bad, they're just a roller coaster of emotions, and I'm not sure we all need that right now. 5th question, just 2 more, hang in there with me. What is a book you wish you could buy or borrow from the library? I don't know if I have a good answer for this one. I'm a huge proponent of ebooks just for the ease of being able to carry a dozen books in my pocket, so if I do really want a book, I just buy the digital version online. Now, I understand that a lot of people aren't in the best financial situations right now, so that might not be feasible. I get that I'm lucky in that regard. Most of the books that I want I can't have because they're not out yet. Aurora Burning by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff doesn't come out until May 5th. It's the sequel to Aurora Rising, which is a young adult science fiction that I liked more than I thought I would. Charlie and Holmberg has a new book coming out called Spellbreaker, but that doesn't drop until November. What am I supposed to read until then? Though, speaking of libraries, when things open back up again, I might go get a library card just because I've been meaning to, but we'll wait to see what normal looks like when a pandemic is no longer upending our daily lives. Question number 6. What authors do you want to shout out during this time? I think the point of this question was to shout out lesser known authors and give people a bit of spotlight in times where the publishing industry is taking a pretty good beating due to the virus. I don't think my tiny platform is going to help anybody in that regard, but I'm going to shout out some authors I don't see a lot of people talk about, or at least not in the circles that I run in. I mentioned both Claudia Gray and Charlie and Holmberg earlier in this video. I would recommend any books written by them. Gray's Star Wars book, Lost Stars, is amazing. Even if you don't know shit about Star Wars, it's a tale that is both gut-wrenching and life-affirming at the same time. Also, again, the Constellation series, Defy the Stars, Defy the Worlds, Defy the Fates, should be at the top of your TBR if you haven't read them yet. All of these books have great character development, rich worlds, and cliffhangers that will kill you in all of the best ways. Also, I recently gave a second chance to an author I was not impressed by in the past, but was pleasantly surprised to greatly enjoy her new series. That is Emily R. King and her Evermore Chronicles, which consist of Before the Broken Star, Into the Hourglass, and Ever After Song. I talked about these books, albeit briefly, in a previous video. I recommend those as well. While none of those 3 authors I mentioned are self-published, I would like to take a moment to encourage people to consider supporting self-published authors during this tough period. If you don't know where to find one, all you really need to do is search for AuthorTubers here on YouTube. They're always plugging their books if they have any. I have personally read both Eve Awakening and The Savior's Champion by Jenna Moresi here on YouTube. The Savior's Champion is a good semi-low magic fantasy with some pretty grim elements that I really enjoyed. Bonus points because there's another installment in the series coming up, and those are just 2 examples. You can probably find a lot more if you do just a little bit of digging. I didn't mean to get this complicated with this question, but I do have one last thing I want to mention that's still sort of in line with this topic. I highly recommend, if you can and still want to order books, that you find ways to support independent bookstores. These guys have always had a really hard time trying to compete with bigger chains like Barnes & Nobles and Books A Million, and this virus stuff is definitely not helping. A lot of indie bookstores will do online orders, and they're still shipping throughout the country. You can use indiebound.org to find a local bookseller, or some of your favorite authors might even be shouting some out on Twitter. You can also use bookshop.org to place your online orders. From what I understand, they directly support indie bookstores by giving a percentage of their sales to participating stores, and when you purchase a book through there, it tells you how much money you're raising for an indie bookstore. And those are just a couple suggestions to help you get some new books during quarantine and feel pretty good about your purchases. Alright, question number 7, the reason everybody's here. I know you probably forgot I was answering questions because I went so far off the rails on that last one. Anyway, this one's pretty simple. What is your reading rush TBR? So there are 4 challenges in the stay home reading rush. Read a book with a house on the cover, read a book in the same room the whole time, read a book set somewhere you wish you could go, and read a book that will make you smile. The first challenge, read a book with a house on the cover, was kind of a pain. I thought this would be a chance to knock something off my physical TBR, except none of those books have houses on them. I was trying to avoid buying a book for this challenge, so I thought to take advantage of my Kindle Unlimited subscription to find anything. I spent probably 2 hours sifting through listings. There is an entire video of pondering Kindle Unlimited book covers, titles, and premises, but that's for another day. I cast a pretty broad net and clicked on just about every book I saw that had something resembling a house on the cover. Then I narrowed it down a bit until I had a couple of options I wasn't really that excited about. During a walk in the park, though, because my father and I haven't seen proper sunlight or real physical activity for nearly 3 weeks, I remembered that I have the ebook for The Bear and the Nightingale by Catherine Arden. It's got a house smack in the middle of the cover, and it's been on my to-read list for almost a year now, so why not take the time to mark it off? The second challenge, read a book in the same room the whole time, is pretty simple since I will be reading every book in the same room that I spend 90% of my time in right now. I'd marked this one off already, but I'll wait until I've actually finished a book. For the next challenge, read a book set somewhere you wish you could go. I think I'm gonna stick with Shadow Magic by Nasri Noor. It feels like I'm cheating because I am currently reading this one, but I'm only on page 20 out of 305, so there's still so much left of that book. And if the synopsis is anything to go by, a lot more plot that I'm not sure how they're gonna fit in so many pages. The thematic reason I picked it is because it's set in California and I want to go back to California one day. Admittedly, it's not set in the same places that I would go to visit if I were to return to California. My friends and I went to see the Redwoods once and our car got charged by a moose, and I'd love to do that again someday. But to be honest, any book that isn't set where I am right now would qualify for this challenge. Village beset by evil magic in the cold Russian wilderness? Sure. The summer heat is setting in early in Louisiana and I could use some cool temperatures for a minute. A fictional city in California where gods are dying and a super secret magical organization turns to a once dead guy to solve the problem? Definitely more interesting than sitting in my bedroom listening to my neighbor's terrible music. I think I echo everyone's sentiment when I say that I am tired of being home. I'm gonna stay home because it's my civic duty, but I'm gonna complain about it the whole time. And the final challenge is to read a book that makes you smile. And you know what? I'm just gonna read The Paper Magician again. I love it. It makes me smile. The main character is a great female protagonist. She has a dog made out of paper, and somebody's heart gets ripped out halfway through the first book. What's not to love? Yes, I read it 3 times last year. Yes, it's been less than 6 months since I read it last. Yes, I should probably read something else, but I don't care. This book makes me smile, so it's going on my TBR. And that's it. That's my TBR. To recap, I'll be reading Shadow Magic by Nasrid Noor, The Bear and the Nightingale by Catherine Arden, and The Paper Magician by Charlie N. Holmberg, and reading all of them in my bedroom. That should satisfy all 4 challenges. If you guys think you can handle shaky cam and shoddy sound, I plan to put my Pixel 2 XL to good use and vlog my rapid descent into madness. Well, some might argue I've been mad for years now, but that's besides the point. Just be on the lookout for an update on the 17th and the 19th, so on Friday and Sunday. Again, my editing skills are lacking, so I apologize in advance for the poor quality of those videos. And that's all I've got for this video. If you're participating in the Stay Home Reading Rush, go ahead and put your TBR in the comments, or just say hi. I do my best to respond to comments in a timely manner. You can also follow me on Twitter at MaxPilot, where I'm mostly just retweeting Animal Crossing stuff. And that's it for today. Thanks for watching. Remember to cut yourself some slack during this weird time we're all living through, and I'll see you soon with a new video. Hopefully.